In this video, I'm going to talk about mail merge using Word 2013. So in this video, I'll show you how to use mail merge to use letters. And if you already know the Word 2007 and 2010, it's not any different in 2013. I just wanted to do it for the new version for anybody starting to use it in Word 2013. And this time around, I'm going to split it up into different videos, one for letter, one for envelope, and also the other ones for emails and things. Now before you start using mail merge, let's understand the basic idea behind mail merge. So here's a scenario. Say for example, you work for a non-profit organization, and every year you have to send out a letter to your donors inviting them to your charity event so that they can come and give you donation. So usually you'll have one letter, the generic letter, that's what I call it, in which you'll have a place where you put the addresses and the information of the letter. Now in that letter, the only thing that is changing is people's names and addresses. The rest of the letter stays the same. That is the location, the time, and anything else you wanted them to tell them. So mail merge comes into play here. So if I have a list, my source data, which is a technical word, or just a list of your names and addresses, this could be in Excel or in some other form of database. What I do is I use mail merge to merge it with my generic letter. So if I had 100 names here, mail merge will merge the names in the letter, and then it will give me the final letter. So if I had 100 names here, at the end I'll have my final letters, which will have individual names and addresses in proper places depending on the way I set up. So this is the basic idea. Now let me show you how to use it, and this can be applied anything. So I'm going to start with the blank document, and I want to start mail merge. To do that, I go to the mailings tab. In the mailings tab, there is a button called start mail merge, and you click it. Now you could go straight through this option, the first one that says letters. I'll show it to you at the end how to use that, because I feel that first time when you are trying to learn it, it's better to go through this step-by-step mail merge wizard, because this way you don't have to remember anything. You just follow the steps. You just need to know what each and every steps are for. So I start the step-by-step mail merge, and look on the right hand side, it opens up this window where you get to choose. So first question is asking you, what kind of a document are you working on? Is this a letter, email, is this an envelope, or is it a label? We'll talk about the other ones in the next few videos. This one I'm going to do letters. And look on the bottom, it says next. So this is why the wizard is good, because you're just going next and next. So I click next. Now here is asking me, which is your starting document? That is, it's asking me about my generic letter, the first part. So there are three parts the way I look at it. So it's asking me the question as to where are you going to write the letter. So the current documents, I'm going to write it right here on the left hand side, which is right here. Or if I had an existing document, so say for example I had already typed the letter, then I could choose that and I can open the existing file and then just modify it. But even if I use the current document, that's not a problem, because I can always go to the other letter where I have typed the file, copy and paste the letter here. So that's not a problem. So I'll choose the current document for now, and I'll click next. Now here is asking me to select recipients. Recipient is the source data. It is asking me, do you have your list already typed? So you see the first option is use an existing list. So if I already have it, I'll browse to it. And when I browse to it, I'll see some lists. So you see I have typed this last year in one of my previous video, a charity donor list that tells me this has names in it. So if that was the case, I could just browse to wherever the file is. Even if you had it in Excel, you can go to that file and open it and it will work. But what I want to do is I want to teach you how to use a new list. And you could also use your Outlook contacts. So if you had Microsoft Outlook in which you have been typing people's names and addresses, you could use that too. So I'll use the type a new list, and I want to create a new list because I don't have it, so I'll click create. Now when I click it, it opens up this window, and I'm just going to expand it just a little in the size. Okay. Now here I start typing, so I'll put title Mr. Dot. Now if you put a dot here, you want to make sure you put it everywhere. If you don't put it in any one of them, because you can add the dot in the actual letter. Now after Mr., you have to be careful that you don't put a space by mistake, because this space will actually show up in your letter, so be careful about that. And then I can use the tab key, and then I can type a name, tab, the last name, company, so then I can type a company, and then the address. Now if you wanted, you could customize these headings by using this customize column button. So here you see I can rename something. So say I wanted to call my zip code, rename it, and instead of zip I wanted it to call postal code, because in Canada we call it postal code, in the US it is zip code. So I can do that. If I did not want to type something, say I don't want to waste my time right now typing email address, I could delete it, say yes to it. Work phone, I can delete it. Even the home phone, I can delete it. Okay. And anything else I want, I can even add a new field if it's not there, and I can also move things up or down as I want it. So I'll click OK. So now you see I've reduced, so I don't need to type all the extra things. So I'm just going to pause the video, and I'm going to finish typing at least 4 to 5 records. So I have typed 4 different names here, and so I've got the titles and names, and in some places I put the address line 2, which is like the apartment number or suite number. So I've added that, and postal codes, and also the country. Now this is a new record. If I don't need to be leaving it blank, I can use the delete button to delete the entry. So I don't want to leave an empty one. And usually when you start hitting the tab keys, and when you come to the last one, when you hit tab, it automatically brings you to a new record, or you can use the new entry button if you wanted to do that. And I can delete this now. Now I'm going to click OK because I'm done. As soon as I click OK, it wants me to save it. Why? Because this is my source data. So I'm just going to bring up my presentation. So this is a separate file. So this is one file, the generic letter. The source data is a second file, and the final letter is all one file. So if I had 100 letters, they all will be part of the same file. So I need to save it, which is very important because this list is the most important thing. So I'll call it charity donor list 2013, because I already have a charity donor list in there. It's always meaningful words to a file is very useful, because anybody looking at it will understand what this is, rather than giving it some name that people don't understand. And then I can click save, and there it is, all the names, and I'm going to click OK. So now it goes to, this step is done, and I need to go to the next step, which is write your letter. I'll click next. Now this is where I write my letter, and this is what I call my generic letter, because this is going to be a 1-page or 2-page letter which is common to everybody. Now say on the top of the letter I wanted to start with the people's addresses. So I wanted to address Mr. John Doe and then the person's address. So look on the right hand side, they have this address block. So I just click it, and it shows me what the address block will look like. And there are different styles that you can choose from. Okay. By default is this one. It's going to put the name of the company and the whole address. If you did not want the company name, you can remove this check mark here. So they see the company name is no longer listed, and you can insert it back. And in this insert postal code, there is some options where you can choose whether you want the country's name showing up. So you see there is the one, never include the country region in the address, always include, and it says only include the country region if different than United States. So if I leave this, if the country was United States, it will not type it in there. So let me see, I'm going to use this arrow, and you see there is no United States listed here. But if I choose this option, the middle one, now everywhere the region will be listed, Canada and USA. So this is a good option. And say if you had already had an existing file like an Excel and you had imported it and there was some discrepancy going on here, you can use the match fields button and you can try to match it from your headings in your Excel file, for example, and then make sure you choose the proper one so that it matches it nicely. So this is a good way to fix any issues that were going on. Okay, so I'll click OK. Now it adds this address block with those arrows. That's fine. You can ignore it for now. It will be taken care in the next one. I'll hit enter. Now at this point I could say wanted to add a date. So I can go to insert, date and time, and I'll say put a date like this. And I can also tell it to update it so that next year it will automatically have next year's date on it. And I'll hit enter. Now in this new line I want to add a greeting line. I want to say dear Mr., Miss, and then the last name. So I can use this greeting line, and then there is the dear Mr., and then that's the way it's going to put it, the title and the last name. And it's going to find the title, like you see up here is showing me dear Mr. Doe, which is coming from the first record that I typed. And if I go to the next one, so it's going to automatically put things there for me. And you can do the match fields again if there was the problem, and I'll click OK. So there is the greeting line. Now I'll show you another way of doing it. So if I wanted, I could do it manually. I could write dear, then I put a space, and then in the mailings tab there is this button here called insert merge field. So I'll click in the drop down and I want to add the title because Mr., Miss, so I'll click it. Then I'll put a space, otherwise the words will be joined together. I'll go back here and I'll add last name, and then I can put the colon, and I'll hit enter. So wherever you see the arrows, that means Word is going to look in the list and find the Mr., Miss for the appropriate names there, and you'll see it when we go to the next few steps. Now this is where I type my letter. So now I can start typing whatever the letter it is, or I can copy and paste it, and I can just tell them. Okay, I'm just going to pause and just type some more things. So I've just typed one line, 2 lines here. Now what I want to do is I want to say a word here wherein I want to say, like, say Microsoft has been supporting us for a long time. We hope you'll continue doing that. So I want to start with the name of the company, the sentence itself. So in the merge field, I'll choose company name because I don't want to type Microsoft. I wanted to type whatever is that person's company name associated with. So I'll choose company name. I'll put a space, and now I can start typing my sentence. So I'm going to say Microsoft has been supporting us for many years. Hope you will continue the tradition. Okay. Now the mail merge, what I'm writing here for a charity event, you can actually create a list of companies you are interested in working for, and then you can create a cover letter and send it out to people, and you can also put the company names anywhere you want it. You could say Microsoft is a company I'm interested in, so you could put the company name and then you can say more things about it. Okay. And then I'll just end the letter right now. Okay. And that's it. Once you are okay, now before I go to the next step, I want to save it because this is my generic letter, which is a separate file. So I'm going to click save, and I'll browse because I always like to organize my things. So I could even go to computer and then I can browse. So there is an option to save it in your SkyDrive, which is online on the internet. I can browse it, and I'll create a folder called Mail Merge. I think I already have a folder called Mail Merge in there. There it is. I'll double click on it and I'll just call it something. So I'll call it my generic charity letter 2013 because I already have another one in there. So this is the way I know that this is my generic letter. So it could be anything, birthday letter. Put the word something that will tell you this is the generic one. I'll click save. So now my file is saved, and I know that because I can see it on the top. Now what's the next step on the bottom? If you look on the right hand side, it says preview your letter. So I'll click next. Now you see it shows me what my letter looks like. So you see it shows me the addresses, and you see how it fills up John Doe Bell, and the word Bell also shows up here, Bell. But I don't like this because this all should be together. So what I can do is I can go to the home, and I can make this no spacing, what I've highlighted, and I'll click here and I'll hit enter so that I can create a distance. So now any changes you want to make for formatting, you can do that here. I can highlight things and I can make it bold because this is my generic letter. I haven't done the last step of merging yet, so I can fix any problems. I can check for spelling errors, spacing issues, anything else that needs to be changed. Make sure everything's okay here. Okay, so I'm in the home tab so that I can get to all the options, and I can come back to mailings if you wanted to see the mailings button. So you see right now it's showing me the results, and I can remove the preview option and it will come back to showing me it like this. I hit preview again and it shows me like that. Now there are some buttons on the right hand side that you can use. You can exclude some recipients. So if you want, you can say don't send it to these type of people, and you can do that. So the way the exclude this recipient button works is you use these arrows, you click it, and you see there's Lisa Jones, and you can click on the exclude button here if you wanted to exclude it. It's much more easier to just go to this edit recipient list, and then you can remove the check mark from the people you don't want to send the letter to. And once you have a lot of people, how do you find it? You can go through the filter button, and then you can choose, say I wanted to find the people in country equal to Canada, and there are lots of other comparisons that you can do. Equal to Canada, I'll click OK. Now it finds me all the Canada people, and then I can remove the check marks from people I don't want. I can click it, and I can click clear all, and I click OK, and I'll click OK to this window too. Now for some reason you found that there were some spelling mistakes or some address changes. So in the mailings tab, you can go back to the edit recipient list. So you click it, and you get the same window that you got from this edit recipient list. Now you double click on this charity donor list, and there it is, and I can make my changes in here. So wherever I want, I can make the changes to it. Okay, so say yes to saving it again. Now the next step, if you look on the right hand side, it says next complete the merge. So I'll click next. Now you can directly print it, but it's better to look at your letter before you print it. So I can click on edit individual letters. I click it, and I'll click all, and I'll click OK. Now this is my final letter. It says on the top letter 1. That's just the name, and I can save it if I want, and I can call it final charity 2013 letter. Save it. Now let's see. So this is first file John Doe, and there is Mr. Doe. He's with Bell, and there is the word Bell comes up here. I'll scroll down, and we should see letter number 2 on page 2. And there it is, Lisa Jones, Mrs. Jones, Pepsi, and there is Pepsi. And that's what's happened with the other letter too. So this is letter 3, Mary Dunn, Microsoft, and we should see Microsoft here, Miss Dunn. And the last one should be Paul, Roche, Apple, Roche, Apple. So this is your mail merge is done. And I'm just going to close this, which is my final letter. So if you had the habit of saving it, at least you won't have to worry about it. Now this is something you can print. So I can go to File and also print it. There's the print. And then have it mail it out. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to close this too. So I'm going to go to File and close this file. and I'll say yes to saving it. It's very important because sometimes when you are closing, some changes you've done to your charity list, it may not be available to you. I'll say yes to it. Now next year, when you were starting to do this again, all you have to do is open your generic letter. So I can go back to File, Open, or you can even see the list here. So I can go to Open from my computer and I can browse. I'll go to the mail merge folder and I'll open the generic. So you see, that's why naming it very is important. Generic charity letter, and I'll say yes to this. So here's the letter, and I can start making changes to the date. So say next year's date, 2014, whatever, change the wordings, and I can go to the mailings tab and I can even edit recipient list if I wanted to. So everything is done. Now all I have to do is do the last step, finish and merge, edit individual documents. And that's it. Your letter is ready. The changes you want to make sure you make the changes right here because the setup is already done for you. I'm going to close this again. Along with the regular mail merge, I also came across these templates which are like for already set up for proper things like merge letters. So they already have everything set up and you can even search for them, like you can search in the templates. So I'll just go into one of these templates. So let me see what else is here. So here it says black tie merge letter, or even the newsletter if you need it. So if I double click on it, and here I can type my company name and then the address of this company. And here you see they've already put the address block. That is the address block of the recipient. So all you have to do is go to the mailings tab and then click on edit, use an existing list, and then open the existing list. And then when you do the last part, it will automatically put the everything. So all you have to do now is go through and making changes to the information. Now I have to do the last step. I can even do a preview. So let's see what it looks like. So you see it put in the information. Dear John showed up here, and I can do the merge part finish, and I can do edit individual documents, and I click OK. So now I should have 4 letters. So this is my letter number 1, and you see I forgot to pick the date. I should have picked it on the other one. So it would have put it for everybody. And so this is the second one, Lisa Jones. So you see Lisa, the name shows up from there. So again, these are really good because they are already set up to do everything. I'm just going to close this quickly, do another one. So I'm just open this Word again, and I'm just going to go through another merge letters. There is this one, so I can double click on it. And you see the whole thing is set up. All I have to do is put the names and fill in the information, type in the address, pick a date, and then they've already put the address blocks and the greeting lights in the right places. Now all I have to do is go to mailings and I select the recipient. So this is existing list, and I'm going to double click on my list, wherever it is, and I change all the contact and all the information that I wanted to do. And the last step will be, before I merge, I can look at the preview results. So it will show me the names that it has filled up. I can even go to finish and merge, edit individual documents, and I click OK. And here it is, all the 4 letters. So John Doe, Dear John. The next one is Lisa Jones, Dear Lisa. And one more thing I wanted to mention is that if you wanted to edit your list directly rather than going through Microsoft Word, so for that you'll have to go through your My Documents first. So I'll just open up the folders, and in the Documents folder you double click on it and you go to what's called My Data Sources. That's the default place for the list, but you could save it wherever you want. And in here you should see the charity donor list. So you can double click on it to open it. And this will open in Microsoft Access. So you gotta have Microsoft Access. So if you don't have it, you can try to open it through Microsoft Word. Or the best thing would be to make sure you have your file already typed in Microsoft Excel. So I'm gonna close that and come back to the Word. And I'll just show you a different way of using mail merge. So I'll go to File, New, and I'll start a blank one. Now that you know all the steps, if you wanted to do it, you could go to mailings, and instead of going through the mail merge step by step, you just go straight to letters. You choose letters. Now you go to select recipients. So you click here. Now I already have a list, right? So I can go through existing list. And then I can double click on my list, Charity Donor List 2013. And I can edit it if I want it by adding more names. I can double click here and I can start adding more names if I want. And most probably somebody else would be updating your list. You don't have to worry about that unless until that's your job. But you'll be doing it all the time. You won't be waiting till the end. And now you type your letter. You use these options to add whatever you wanted. If I wanted address block, I use that. Always include the country. Enter. I can use the greeting lines, and wherever I want it again, I can use the merge option. So that's it to mail merge for letter. And whatever you learned here also applies to 2007 and 2010. There is not much of a difference. And in the next video, I'll talk about envelopes, and also I'll do one for emails. Thank you for watching.